Hi guys, it's Ismail from Zanko Jewelers and welcome back to another watch review. Today we're unboxing another Grand Complication Patek Philippe 5303R-001. At first glance, I have to say, out of all the Grand Complication and striking watches that we've had from Patek Philippe, this tops out as one of the best. This minute repeater in particular has hand engraving on the outside of the case and on the case back, which I think adds to the allure of this watch being the most intricately made Grand Complication in the Patek Philippe collection today. The open architecture of this watch is one of my favorite features, as it allows you to see, most importantly, the hammers and gongs which make up the minute repeater, which is always a pleasure to listen to. The movement is not far removed in similarity to the 5316-50P that we shot a few weeks ago, and that is the RTO27PS, and that's just removing the perpetual calendar, and this watch instead has a tourbillon and a minute repeater. In terms of size, this fares at 42mm in case size and 12.3mm in case height, which in comparison to the 5316 is slightly larger, and it's more similar to the 6301P that we've reviewed before in terms of its case size. However, it's still quite a thin watch, which means it definitely slips under the cuff and can be worn quite discreetly. However, I would say this minute repeater is not as subtle as the others because of the skeletonized movement and case. The tourbillon is placed at the 6 o'clock of this watch, and the small seconds is printed discreetly on top, which allows you to keep your timekeeping. One thing I found cool about this watch compared to the other tourbillon minute repeaters that we have had in store is that the serial number is actually on the top right of the watch, underneath the tourbillon writing, instead of at the 6 o'clock. The closest like-for-like comparison to this 5303R is the 5304R, which features the diamond bezel, but that doesn't have the tourbillon inside the movement. So it comes down to the point of if you want more aesthetic or if you'd prefer the functionality of the tourbillon. As mentioned before, the side of the case is hand engraved with foliage motifs, which are actually made in white gold, which I think is a good contrast to the full rose gold case, and that is accentuated nicely with the dial. The watch also has a stark contrast with this very black leather croc strap, which I think makes the dial and all the components of the watch pop a lot more than if it was on a brown or champagne colored strap. This is something that I think they've done exquisitely in comparison to some of the other Grand Complications I've seen, as it just adds a bit more finesse to the watch. In terms of market price then, when you're looking at buying a watch of this caliber, it's always important to know what it was before previously on the market to what it is today. At the peak of the market, the 5303R was anywhere between 2 and 2.5 million, depending on the year and condition of the watch. This has now dropped down to around 1.2 million, which I think is more justified when you consider the 5316-50P that we had a few weeks ago, with a perpetual calendar being added to the movement, which is around 1.6. The 1.2 for just the tourbillon and minute repeater makes more sense. Thank you very much for watching this review of the 5303R, and if you are in the market for a watch like this, remember to visit our website or contact this number here, and remember to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you want to see more watches like this, and I'll see you at the next review.